Hello there, my lovely Legionnaires. How are we doing today?
It's funny how many times you've been in this position.
Is art time. Haven't done art here in a minute. I'm bad art streamer. In fairness, I'm also a bad spooky game streamer because we haven't been playing those a lot lately either, so. I'm simply bad streamer, perhaps. Ooh. A revolutionary take. I keep telling myself that I'll get into better, like, rhythms and patterns, etc., and then I just sort of don't. I don't fully understand how people do it. Discipline's a hell of a thing. I would love to possess it, but I don't know how one forms it. Every time I try to be more actively disciplined, I end up just making myself feel bad. So how does one acquire this fabled discipline?
Arch!
I don't know what that means in this context.
Arch!
Yeah, so... This is an old one. I've had them for a while and done nothing with them. Sometimes, the muse comes to me unbidden in the middle of the night, and I awaken in a cold sweat and have to snatch my phone and write something in Notes app before I collapse once again. And this was one of those instances. I find a writing crop helps. Thanks. I appreciate the sentiment, but spray bottle. Thank you for the follow. Yeah, these guys are, I've had these guys for a little bit. But I've only ever drawn them the once. Well, okay, technically I've drawn them twice. Alright, hang on. Let me... So, a while back... I posted... this on Twitter. Because this happens to me a lot. Where I'll I'll have a dream of some kind that had a cool concept that I want to remember. So I'll write down the parts of it that stood out to me. And then when I wake up, I'll, like, fucking reverse engineer it. Because I'm wondering, it's nice to see you. It's been a little bit. But basically I'll fucking poke and prod at it like a fucking lab chimp for a little bit and see if anything about it is salvageable. So this was what I woke up. And immediately what I wrote down. I've had this happen a couple of times. A couple of the things that I have made that I really like have come to me unbidden in dreams. And then I drew them as I remembered in my brain. Just, like, this was exactly what I remembered, as well as I remembered it. And then, usually I'll sit on it for, like, a day or two. I'll let it ruminate, let it marinate. And then I come back with something that actually has some fucking coherency. So this is where we were. So I drew them references, but I never drew them. So I thought I would try and do that today. And that was a bit ago. At least a year and some change. Of course he has huge tits, massive. Listen. Do you or do you not come to me for a particular kind of content?
Did you said thick and moody?
They don't even, as of this minute, have proper names, actually.
Nah,
It's just something I, like... This is what a lot of these are, is that they're just things that ruminate in the back of my dome for a little while. Until I can be bothered to, like, have a thought. Because, like, notoriously, I'm a concepts person. I like to, I think in, like, broad scale concept. And then we drill down from there. That's just kind of how I am. It's how I think. My creative process usually consists of some variation of, this sounds cool. And then if X, then Y, you know? My working shit is like, okay, so if we're doing this, then... Yeah, if X, then Y is the best way to put it. Like, if this is the idea, then what do we do with that? Then what do we do with this? What do we, some kind of Suicide Squad? Too notorious, at least myself as a concepts person, there's a reason my username is just ruminating in it. It's true. I'm a very, I don't know, would you refer to this as top-down thinking? It's what I refer to it as, I don't know.
Oh my! I mean, fuck.
I think about things in, like, usually in the broad scope and then narrow them down from there. It's why I'm so autistic about my D&D world building, is for that exact reason.
Oh my! Oh my! I mean, fuck.
Because I feel like when you work that way, when you do broad to narrow instead of narrow to broad, you have... that's the way that my... That's the way I like to read, I guess. Because I've talked about this before, how, like, how the key to my heart is when a world feels... The word I always use is considered. When it feels like a motherfucker really sat down and was like, if X, then Y, you know? Hang on 1 second. We're gonna run an ad. Ad time. I'm not gonna say anything for ad time. I won't expand on my point until...
Domain expansion! Impeccable pussy popping!
I've been manually running ads the minute that, Twitch tells me, I just pointed, you can't see that. When Twitch tells me that it'll disable, pre-roll ads. So, like, when people join the stream, they'll see an ad. The minute it tells me, like, pre-roll ads are enabled, I'll just run a 60-second ad, so that way...
I mean, fuck.
So that way we don't have to... People can just join. So that's why you've been seeing more ads. With some advice I got that was, like, actually actionable, so... Anyway, what the hell was I saying? Oh, yeah! Yeah, I like to... I think it makes your, like... It makes your story feel more alive, I feel. When your characters feel like they're... like the world is a part of them. Like, I feel like fleshing out setting is, A, one of my favorite things to do, but B, is also, I feel, very important. At least it is to me. Because I feel like that's how, that's also how you foster, like... strong community, I feel, as well. You get a stronger, a stronger, more robust fan base if you provide your audience with, like, if you clue them in on how the world works, if you make them feel like they're a part of what's going on. I feel like that's why the big boys succeed. Or at least part of it. It's part of why they succeed. You want something with, like... I find that I like it when the world that I'm perceiving has, I guess a good way to put it would be clearly defined edges, you know? Where you can see where certain things start and stop. Are these too high up? No. No, that's right. Ah! Thank you. Thank you for the 18 months. Oops, that's the wrong brush. Everyone talks about, I hate drawing hands, I hate drawing hands. I hate drawing wrists. I feel like every time I draw a character's wrists, they're either too thick or way too thin. They never feel like they look right. There we go. Looks like he'd be Amalia and Ulrich's kid. A little bit. If I darkened his skin up, maybe. Little too pale to be a child of Amalia. Hate drawing, that's why I commissioned a professional like Heaton to do the work for me. Based, honestly. I've said before, like, I love art. I love drawing. I love drawing! But like, for example, I don't have the eye or the constitution for sequential art. I've talked about this before. So, like, comics, I'm learning to do animatics. Spoilers, it's slow going. A, I just like illustration better, and B, I don't know, I just don't have... Part of it's I don't have the patience for it, like, I'm not even gonna pretend. I could sit here and tell you, like, oh, it's all of these fancy art words. It's straight up, I just don't have the patience for it. Hate drawing forearms.
Oh my! I mean, fuck.
Always too defined or not defined enough near the elbows. It's so true. But, like, yeah, I just don't have the patience for it. It's... it requires a lot of, like, careful, repeated fine-tuning. And it's like, it's just a completely different set of skills. That I've never, like, that I never sat down and cultivated. So it's just not an area where I feel particularly strong. So if I had the funds, hoo boy, you'd be seeing a lot more art content from me, I'll tell you what. A lot more original story content.
Domain expansion, unlimited yaoi merch.
You'd be seeing a lot more story content from me if I had the means and the team for it. If only I was Vizzy Pop, Dreamy Sigh.
Nah,
May your
brother,
and your bitches few.
That's a way more intense response than I expected.
Certified lover boy, certified.
That's That's crazy. That first one's crazy. Don't say that. Sure, my own body is a good reference to begin with because my wrist doesn't indent, it continues the arm width to the wrist. Yeah, mine does mostly as well. I don't know, it's one of those things that's like, even when I know objectively I've done it right, I feel like I've done it wrong. Like every time I write the word parallel. Like I know how it's spelled, I know that I've spelled it right. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. That's not spelled that way. Forearms do have hands. That tends to be where they are.
Fucking die!
Oh, I can do it sometimes. Sometimes Heaton can be.
God forgive me for what I'm about to do to this woman.
Fucking die!
Sometimes I can be funny. Blame the English language and anatomy. It's true. I wish I was more versatile, I think. I wish I was a little more flexible, that I had, that I was not quite so, quite so rigid in the way I learned. Because I feel like in the long run that did me a lot of disservice. I feel like I saw somebody fucking talking about this the other day. Or no, it was Justin who brought this up to me the other day. That somebody was talking about how, like, they were talking about AI art. And they were like, oh, it lets me realize my creative dreams. And I'm like, you could just be a frustrated, unfulfilled creative like the rest of us, you stupid fucker. Or you could just pay an actual artist. The only thing, right? Also, hey, how are you? I'm doing great. Well, I'm not doing great. I'm doing okay. I'm here. The only thing that I'll give, right? Like, and it's not an excuse. Don't use AI art. Don't steal people's artwork, right? Plagiarism is bad. Change my mind. I won't. Some people will try, but I sure won't. The only thing I'll give, right, is that, like, you don't understand how, like, prohibitively expensive making content is until you're not a jack of all trades. Like, for example, right? I've talked before about how, like, how many ideas rattle around in my dome. And I think about them all the time. If it's not one thing, it's another thing, you know? The last couple of weeks especially, I've, like, unironically been losing sleep. Because I've had, because the muses are loud again. And, like, there's nothing I can do about that. Because, like, even a fucking, like, what, a 5-page comic is hundreds, plural, of dollars, you know? So the only thing I'll give is that, like, you should pay artists for their hard work. And if they're, you know, if they're what you want and they're good and they're respectable and they deliver on time and all that good noise, then they're worth every cent you pay them for. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I'm not saying that that's, like, unfair. But it's just kind of the way it is. I get why people turn that route when they're faced with the expense. I don't condone it. I don't agree with it, but I understand it. I have empathy, not sympathy, is the way I'll put that. Because, like, it'd be so easy, right? I could get the voices to stop if I just used AI, but I'm not going to do that because I'd simply rather combust. And, like, the other thing, too, right? People talk about this, and this is something I've never, like, fully understood. People talk about, like, oh, I use it because it's, like, I can get exactly what I want. But, like, you can't, right? Like, that's the thing, like, maybe this is, like, an autism thing, or maybe I'm a control freak, or both. It could very easily be both. But, like, you can't get exactly what you want. Like, by virtue of AI being what it is, it's just impossible. Because if you want to make something that's wholly unique, then you can't... AI relies completely on replication. So if you're out here trying to make something unique, you can't. You can't get it... It'll never look exactly like you want. Unless you get somebody who knows how to how to draw or how to compose music or whatever, like, you have to have somebody who knows what they're doing do it. Because if you're only making collages, then you're not, you're not creating wholly from the dome. So whenever people are like, oh, I need to use AI to realize my creative vision, I'm like, okay, so it would have been derivative and shitty anyway. Because you had to rely on somebody else's work to collage together your idea anyway. And commonly the retort to that is like, oh, well, nothing, every story's been told, nothing's wholly original. It's like, yeah, fucking... Sure, I guess. Like, if you want to get fucking, like, if you want to get granular, right? Like, let me take one of my favorite examples of this, right? I want you to think in your mind. I want you to hold tight in your sweaty fist the image of Cowboy Bebop. Any facsimile of it, like any section of it, the opening theme, a particular fight sequence, just even a particular like still, right? I want you to hold it in your hands. The thing about Bebop, right, is if you know, like if you know, right? Does he know? If you know. I'm holding Stephen Plume's voice. Yeah, true. Brianna! Hi! Hee-ho! I'm working on reworking an original concept and shitting on AI. But yeah, if you take that and you hold it in your fist, right? When you think of Bebop, Bebop is an accumulation of everything that the creator absolutely adores. And you can tell. Like, it's a pastiche on, like, old retrofuturism, on film noir, on action movies. Like, I can hear the fucking John Woo sound effects every time I watch an episode of Bebop, right? I can see it. I can feel it. And when you know that, like when you know what his inspirations were, what his influences were, you can see it. Clear as day. It comes in 4K Ultra HD. And that's true. But here's the thing, right? Bebop then went on to inspire entire generations of new people to create totally new things. And that's true. And people used Bebop as a derivative. But only Bebop is Bebop. You can tell things that want to be it, things that want so badly to have what it had, to do what it did, even just to capture the ephemeral feeling that Cowboy Bebop made them feel when they were younger. But they don't, because they can't. Every story's been told and everything is inherently derivative, blah, 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 blah. Like, we've all heard these things before, and that's inherently true, right? You create things based on a visual library, blah, 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 blah. But, like, when you've done something right, when you've hit the sauce, even if you can see, like, I can look at a cake and be like, oh, there's flour in that. But if I can see chunks of flour, you fucked it up. But if I know the recipe, I know what goes into it. I know what made the cake. But it's a different cake. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm rambling. Maybe this is nonsense. I don't know. Does my metaphor make sense? Do you see what I'm getting at? You smell what I'm stepping in?
I do.
Because, like, originality kind of, like, striving to be... If you strive to create something that's never existed... Said the White Lion from If Was a VTuber. I almost cried. I mean, if only. If only you were a VTuber. Looks like if Mufasa was a VTuber! That's crazy.
So does that mean you have a rivalry with Sonic the VTuber?
I can't believe this. Listen, man, people keep thinking I'm a demon, so don't feel bad. No, I don't think this is right. I think, like, striving for complete originality is a misnomer, obviously, but, like... But, like, you shouldn't... Like, it's just a bad argument. Because, like, yeah, everything is derivative, and you can see where the greats were inspired by their greats, and etc., etc. But, like, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. One of the greatest pieces of advice, of writing advice, that I ever received was from one Thomas Tom Scott Ridgewell. He said in a video, when discussing the old adage, good artist copy, great artist steal, he said what you should be striving to do in order to create your own style is to steal from so many sources that nobody can tell what the original source was. You should learn and grow from so many different places and be like, I like this, I like this, I like this. And then when you put them all together, you have created something entirely new. Use them as ingredients in your soup. Do not eat them by themselves. That's what I try to do. I find something that I like, and then I think, like, okay, what does this do? Either what does this do that I enjoy, or what is this not doing that I think would be cool? Like, I was talking to Mortis a while back, about villainess manga. And I came up with an idea for, like, a horror-themed villainess manga. That I've had.
Arch!
That's kicking around in the dome right now. I may draft up designs for that at some point. Oh, his head's too small. That's the fucking problem. Dang, you talk to Mortis? Cringe. I know. He's only the love of my life. Only one of the best.
I can hear you? You did not just call me a Jehovah Witness! Assistant!
Give me my
Talk to him
wife
whilst I
back.
make love to his wife. Begone, you cuckold.
Jesus. I feel like his fucking... I think his nose is too long. I think that's the problem. Because I keep feeling like his eyes are way too... Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem. There we go, there we go, there we go. There! Now his fucking facial proportions look right. Jesus H. Consider, what if a character was noseless? I've thought about it. But, like, we were... So, like, going back to what I was talking about, we were talking about Villainess manga. And I had a neat little concept, because I keep seeing things almost do it. Especially in, like, reincarnation manga in general. So, like, in isekai shit. I keep seeing things kind of brush up against it, but decide at the last minute that they don't want to... They keep hover-handing it, basically. I keep seeing, like... them be like, oh, this could be cool, and then they fake it out, and that's not what's going on. And I'm like, no, but what if you, like, committed to the bit?
Is he hiding from the recent allegations?
More Eldritch, Heaton's lore power, or Mortis's sense of humor? I think my lore power, I can out-autistic most people.
It's true, I agree. Okay, I won't agree anymore. I'm sorry I offended you.
I did receive a 92-paragraph Discord message from Bortis about why MHA was bad. It's true. Oh, you've been formally inducted as a friend. Cool. I once woke up to 200 messages, not a joke, of Mortis yelling at me about, bad Skyrim mods, so, welcome to it.
Arch!
Man, that's what you guys wake up to?
Is that typical? No, but I think about that morning quite a bit, because it was really funny. I was at a concert, my phone watch was exploding, and I was trying not to die in the pit. The mental image of you, like, sitting in a mosh pit, like, getting the shit beat out of you, while you're trying to check your fucking Apple Watch, and all you can see is, like, so the thing about fucking Horikoshi's shit writing is really funny.
Freaky all over that Barbie couch.
Gotta quit zoning out. I want to at least comprehend somewhat what's happening.
Good luck.
Oh wow, there's so much going on right now. What the fuck?
Streamer's on a weird monologue again. That's all you need to know. There, you're caught up.
Umai! I mean, fuck.
I feel like his proportions are fucked up somehow, but it's fine. I think if I keep fucking with it, it's only gonna look worse. So we're just gonna let things happen for right now. We're gonna lie back and hope that his mediocre dick doesn't disappoint us. Where does it work? Everyone point and laugh. It's true. Point and laugh at the wage slave. Haha, you have to participate in capitalism. Meh. Meh. Sketchy, sketchy. I had a dream once where my girlfriend and I chose to believe that it's my fate deck of cards, that romance is possible. That's crazy. I do not know what I was thinking with this weird-ass hairstyle, but I kind of love it. Past me was cooking. This is a fucking hell of a silhouette. My ass was like, give this motherfucker dog ears. And I was like, yeah, I guess. That went a little narrower. There we go. Part bottom of pine tree, part emo kid. Yeah, kinda. Oh, I can start drawing the sister. In other news, my model teaser popped off on Twitter and TikTok, and now I'm overwhelmed. It must be nice. I'm so proud of you. He looks great.
Like, get thrown all the attention.
I think it's because your model is very unique. It has like a very, it has a very muted, subdued color palette. It airs more on the side of the realistic than a lot of the anime boys. You're very fluffy. You have a design that distinctly stands out. Funny imagining my model mother, a German woman, messing with my facial capture. It's so true! It's so true! It's so weird. I can't explain to you, if you're not a VTuber, this is kind of like a weird thing to explain, a weird sensation to feel. I like the snow white gray color combo. I do too. I think it looks very good. But like it's a weird thing to explain. But when your model is being like early rigged, etc., it feels weird. Maybe this isn't a universal experience, but it is for me. When I was getting my first like teasers from Okuda of this model, of me, of Heben, I see my model as me. Right? It's me. It's me. So it was weird after all that time, like, drawing, designing, and being like, okay, this is gonna be me, you know? It's weird I had the model designed for a while in 2D, but I was getting it in 3D. It's so weird to watch, like, capture, like, have them capturing, like, doing rig tests, and it's weird to hear someone else's voice come out of your mouth. Yeah, it's a weird feeling. Like, it was so weird for Okuda to be like, this is the face movements, and, like, to watch him do, like, all the facial tracking and all the little, like, all the little movements, and be like, that's my face! It feels really strange. They're putting hands on me. It feels weird. But that's, like, for example, also why I've said before I don't want, under any circumstances, I do not want NSFW of my model, is because that's me. And I know, asexual will hate that. I've also said, though, as long as my OCs are not asexual, and are over the age of 18, you can lewd them as much as you want. I don't care about.
Umai! I mean, fuck.
As long as they're adults and the things you do with them aren't illegal or gross, go for it.
If you try us, we will come to your house with a crowbar, directly to your kneecaps.
I know where you live.
You have an example of... So I wasn't, want people to ask for my direct consent before they make NSFW my avatar for the same reason. She's me, so I do get you to some extent. Yeah, exactly, exactly. I can't... I've talked about this before, though, too. It's why, it's why, for example, I don't like boyfriend-themed ASMR, for example, is for the same reason. My variety of asexuality is that I'm not, like... The concept of sex doesn't weird me out. Like, in and of itself. For some people it does, but I'm not, like, completely sex repulsed. What I am repulsed by is the idea of it being me. So, like, for example, it's why, like I said, it's why I hate boyfriend ASMR. Is because when I'm the object, and it feels like he's whispering in my ear.
Brother,
Yeah, brother, I hate it. I scrunge every time. And it's like that in, there's certain, like, video games that do that as well. Where, like, when you have sex scenes in, like, video games, they're in first person. And I hate that.
brother,
Yeah, I hate that. I hate that. It's gross. It's gross.
Who ordered a cup of piss?
I can't take boyfriend ASMR seriously because all I can think about is femboy falls down the stairs. My favorites are Femboy Falls Down the Stairs. I'm a fan of Boyfriend Beats You to Death with Frying Pan. Boyfriend Gets in Car Accident is another very good one. Same, I don't mind learning about spicy stuff, but as soon as I'm directly involved, it's a big nope. Exactly! It's weird! It's why I could never read, like, X-Reader fanfic. Like, YN shit makes my fucking skin crawl. A, because I don't like being sexualized, and B, because, like... This is so autistic, but, like, whenever I read, like, YN fanfic, all I can think of, like, all I can think of is, I wouldn't do that. I'm like, no, I wouldn't. No, I don't. You know, I'm like, and then it just takes me all the way out, because I'm like, why is she doing that? Is she stupid? Currently trying to be a little more sus with Briannu, but it's strange how it makes me feel kind of weird. Yeah, like, it's totally understandable, right? Because, like, being a VTuber is in a weird... not gray area, but, like, a weird liminal spot. Where because you transition in and out of, like... sometimes it's you, and sometimes it's not. I think I'm okay with suggestive and sus, but won't do full NSFW. Yeah. You enforce your boundaries, King. Enigomi's literally the only ASMR I can tolerate. It's true. That or they're just funny. Like, I can't... Maybe it's the fucking theater kid in me. But, like, every time I listen to, like, sexy ASMR, all I can think about is I keep getting taken out by A, I hate being sexualized, but also B, I keep thinking about, like, all my brain keeps concocting is the mental image of the dude sitting in his makeshift booth, like, pressed up against his microphone. Like, that's all I can picture.
It's like, how close to the microphone do you want me to get?
Yeah, right? Like, all I can think is, like, him fucking breathing down his microphone. And I keep thinking, I'm like, how many takes did it get you before you could say this? And then I'm out. That's it. Like, you know what I mean? I keep thinking about the fucking production elements of it, and then I'm out of it. It's gone.
So when you get that close to the microphone, you listen back. What happens when you realize the audio peaks at one point? You just give up, and I'm pretty sure they just start cursing under their breath.
Right. Smash some chicken wings, then hopefully sleep. Go sleep! Go eepy sleepy! Yeah, I don't know, I can't get into it. I get the appeal, but it's super just not for me. I see the utility, but
The utility does not apply to me.
yeah, I'm not the target demo. It's also why, like, I don't read, like, a lot of... Like, I don't read spicy books or fanfic, either. For like... I'm a very particular person in general. I'm very picky about the things I read. Mainly because, like... Well, I was unfortunately given good taste at a young age. But, like... No, but, like, I think being a writer... I've joked about this before, but I think being a writer and, like, learning how to read... Like, not just mechanically, but, like learning how to, like, interpret story, etc., etc. I've joked about this, but I think it's done a lot of damage to my ability to just, like, enjoy things. Because it's incredibly hard for me to just, like, sit down and... Wait, I never asked you, Heben. Okay. Yes, Brianna.
So, hello, TP.
Hello, TP. Would you be up for reading some of my lore to know I'm not dog poop at writing? Absolutely! I'd love to. I've been doing that a lot lately. No complaints, because it's one of my favorite things to do. But it's been a recurring motif that my friends have been like, hey, can I show you my lore? Or I'll be like, here's a lore suggestion, and then they just do it. Cough, cough, mortis. I love the market of things freely given.
I can hear you? You did not just call me a Jehovah Witness!
Fabriano got his powers, have a few chapters done. Ooh.
I have... I personally have a recommendation for your lore.
Oh?
Make the girls kiss.
I thought you were gonna say make the Lord that you're a Jehovah's Witness.
Okay.
No, I'm not that insane.
So, forgot if you've said this. Who's your least favorite author to read? Mangaka or prose author? Okay. So, I'm gonna run you down a couple people, because I don't have, like... I don't live in binaries of best and worst. No, it's the autism. I don't have, like, tops. They shift from minute to minute, but I can tell you some that I don't like. I couldn't... When I tell you, everyone was talking about ACOTAR, right? Everybody was talking about A Court of Thorns and Roses. And nobody would shut up about Sarah J. Maas. No one would shut up about her. And they were like, oh, she's so, she's all this, she's all that. And I was like, okay.
Is he hiding from the recent allegations?
Some people were saying, like, oh, she's horrible, she's the worst ever. Some people were saying, like, oh, she's really good. But, like, most of the reviews that I saw were like that she was somewhere in the middle. They're like, oh, she's, she's okay. I swear to you on all that's holy, and this is the truth, I could not get through chapter 1. I couldn't. I hate the way that she writes. I hate purple prose so fucking much. I hate when motherfuckers go on and on and on and on and on. I'm like, just get to the fucking point. Like, if your writing is too concise and you don't give me anything, that's one thing. But, like, A Court of Thorns and Roses spends, like, 5 pages trying to tell me something you could have told me in a page and a half. And, like, everything is so dramatic and laced in, like, 4 layers of metaphor and yeah! I hate it. I hate it. It makes me so mad.
Metaphor these nuts?
Metaphor these nuts in your mouth.
Exactly.
But, like, I love Haruhi Itagaki's writing. I love Legoshi. So, like, but, like, I hate it. It pisses me off. It's also why, like, for example, I don't read anything that's, like, I read very little that's, I don't want to say that I don't read any, because I've, I read the Odyssey a couple of times, but, like, I don't usually read anything that's, I think the term is pre-colonial. Like, I don't read a lot of, like, old literature. And it's for kind of a similar reason. I don't like, older classic literature has a very, like, flowery writing style that I personally can't stand. And, like, I get it. I understand, you know, it's a byproduct of its time. This, that, and the other. Yeah, that doesn't mean that it's not boring. I tried so hard to read A Scarlet Letter. And I was like, this is a good story, and I'm enjoying the story that's happening here, but the actual writing drives me insane. It's why, like, I've said before, like, I really like the concept of Original Frankenstein. I couldn't read it. It drives me nuts. Best old thing I've read is Journey to the West. It's true. Journey to the West is great.
Yeah. And it's 2,000 pages.
I fucking hate Garth Ennis. This is a well-known fact. This is a fucking Garth Ennis hate account. I hate his writing.
Did you say thick and moody?
No.
Brother,
Certified lover boy, certified.
Fucking, there's something, his writing's just bad. Like, he and Frank Miller, because, like, for example, I hate Frank Miller as well, for the same reason I hate Sarah J. Maas, is this motherfucker, his fucking prose is so purple you think that he beat the shit out of it. It's just, like, it's so bad. But I hate Garth Ennis. I hate Garth Ennis because his work is mean. And, like, you're gonna be sitting here and you're gonna look at me and go, you like Tatsuki Fujimoto. And I do. But the difference, I think, with Garth Ennis is that Fujimoto Sensei's stories are mean, and they're sad, and they're cruel, and they're heavy, but with purpose. Like, with intent. Garth Ennis fucking sucks. Because his work is fundamentally based in, I hate X, therefore I will be better than X, and then he is simply worse. Because, like, for example, right? You can't... I'm a firm believer. I'm a firm believer in the mentality that if you hate something, like actually capital H hate it, you shouldn't write about it. Because it won't be good. Because, like, you can't appreciate the nuances and, like, the reasons why the thing is the thing. If you can't, like, understand... You have to understand why people like it, why people find joy in it, why the thing is considered good. If you can't do that, like, if you can't wrap your head around why somebody likes something or why something is perceived as good, then just don't write about it. Because, like, you can't, because you're not all it's gonna come through is the fact that you hate it. And it's going to be a boring, reductionist version of The Thing, which is what The Boys is. Listen, I love Mert KK. I've talked about this before. I love her. I agree with her takes on most things. The one bad take I think she's ever had was her saying that The Boys started out good and then became bad. No, it didn't. It was always bad. It's always been a bad critique of the superhero genre, always. You thought it was good because you were tired. Because you had superhero burnout and you wanted something that would affirm what you thought. That's why you liked it. And that's why you thought it was good. It was never good. Because it's not a good critique of superhero movies. It's not a good critique of the superhero genre. It's a bitter old man complaining about how much he thinks that superheroes ruined the comics industry, and making Superman a fascist evil rapist. Like, there's no critique. There's no meta commentary. There's no take here. It's just I hate Superman all the way through to the bottom. And it's why I hate his writing as a whole, is because, like, it comes from a place of nothing but bitterness and hate. And because of that, it has no soul. Like, even a scathing critique of something has to come from a place of affection for something. Also, hello. Like, you cannot talk about, you can't create something based purely in your own misanthropic hatred, or that's all it is. Cough, cough, it's why I don't like Catcher in the Rye. But, let me think. I've read a couple manga that I don't like. I'm so glad you asked, though, if there's a mangaka I don't like. I have some immaculate news for you about a video that's currently being edited. There's a mangaka whose work I fucking loathe. He's been a bugbear of mine for many years, and my friends have to keep listening to me scream about how much I don't like his work. And so they were like, write a fucking video about it, dumbass. And I was like, alright, fine. So I did.
A bugbear?
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
It just means it's been something that's bothering me.
Oh, okay.
I don't know where that expression originated, but I know that that's an expression. Is it Iraqi? No, I love JoJo. JoJo's great. Listen, is JoJo stupid? Yes. But you can feel, I've said this before, right? Heat and Core work, like Heat and Core stories, are stories that you can feel the artist fucking loved making. And you can say a lot of things about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Why are you zooming in and out? It's because I'm trying to see if I can fix this, why his head looks wrong. But, like, you can say whatever you want about JoJo, but Araki was having a fucking blast. And you can feel it in every page. Araki's having fun. He was like, you know what? I want to make a man whose touch turns other people into dinosaurs. I think that'd be funny. And then he did it. And was like, I like this. He's one of the main villains now. Nope, never mind. He's a friend now. Watching the Beastars anime at the same time as reading the manga and not being that guy, but the manga is leagues above the anime, at least from the world building. Yeah! I'm gonna turn you into one of us, Brianu. I'm gonna turn you into one of us. Grabby hands.
Yeah, and also Araki. Alright, so, what are we gonna make this guy? Oh, so he makes food that actually makes you feel better? And we're gonna make him look like a villain, but he's actually the goodest guy ever.
His food's so good it blows you up.
Yeah, and then it fixes you.
how I feel about like FNAF. It's like this is really ridiculous, but he's having a hell of a time with this.
Yeah, you can tell.
I have my own theories about why it's so wild, but that'll be in my own thing.
I have feelings.
Either that or buried deep within my chest.
I have feelings about Five Nights at Freddy's, but I will not share them in front of the resident Five Nights at Freddy's fan.
Why?
Because they're not nice.
They'll make you cry.
I'm a big boy.
Listen, I think, and maybe I'll make a video about this at some point, but I think that Five Nights at Freddy's was a net negative for the horror community as a whole.
Oh.
And I think it's only a little bit its own fault. I don't think that it happened on purpose, but I think that the people who make it made it worse, is the way I'll put it.
No, I have my own weird theory of why it got worse.
We might have the same theory.
I don't know. Would you like to converse about it?
I can if you so desire.
Well, it's your stream. I don't want to like redirect anything you don't want.
No, it's okay. It mostly comes down to, I think, there was a turning point near the very beginning where they had the opportunity to do what I think was the right thing and make it not for children.
Mm-hmm.
And they made the wrong decision and didn't flip that switch.
Mm-hmm.
I think...
I'm not... by the way, I sound tired and angry. I'm not, by the way. I just want to make that very clear. I realize that I sound really bitchy. It's just because it's 5 a.m.
No, I know. I know it's because you're EP. But yeah, it's... I think that choosing to cater to eventually turn the series to being more PG-13 to cater to children was the worst decision that was ever made. Because I'm aware that this part's a hot take. I've also said that I don't think there should be PG-13 horror. I just don't think it should exist. But that's I know that's a smoking hot take, and I will have to make a whole video explaining why at some point, because there's a lot of nuance to it, but my favorite simple explanation is when I said this, somebody responded with, are you saying Poltergeist shouldn't exist? And I had to look it up, and yes, Poltergeist is a PG-13 movie, and I responded...
What?
And my response was, no, I don't think Poltergeist shouldn't exist. I think Poltergeist shouldn't be a PG-13 movie.
You're so fucking
hate
funny.
I really hate that angle. So this shouldn't exist? No, I'm saying that it should have been made for someone else.
I think the short version of this tirade is that I think that children don't have the necessary means to process a lot of what happens. And not only can it end up forming long-term trauma and mental and emotional harm, but children cannot internalize a lot of the bad shit that happens in horror movies as what it is. And nothing has proved that point to me like watching people make mouth-washing OCs.
By the way, to make something clear, Heaton's not talking about general movies having scary scenes in them.
No, I'm saying you shouldn't make...
We talked about it before.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying, like, you can't have like horror elements or have like for example, I'm not saying that we take the horror elements out of something like Multiverse of Madness, for example. I'm saying that horror movies that are made PG-13 should not be. I think they should just be rated R. You have to... The other thing is, like, you have to cut and change so much. I'm so tired of, like, oh, this is the theatrical cut, it's PG-13. Oh, this is the real director's cut, rated R. You know what I mean? I hate that. Mm-hmm. Because, like, you made it PG-13 so that way you could get it in front of more people. Not because you gave a shit about making it age accessible.
That's how I feel about some G-rated movies. Someone was talking about this, where, you know, fucking Frozen is, oh, it's PG-13. Why? Why is it PG-13? And you know why? It's because animation is seen for children. It's like, okay, so we gotta brand it so that it's not just for children. We gotta make it seem like it's for more people.
Right.
It's like Bambi's rated G, and I would argue that it's more deserving of PG-13 than Frozen.
My favorite horror movie is Hereditary, and children cannot and would not even understand what makes that movie good. Exactly!
No.
You have, like, I watch a lot of horror, because I like it, air quotes, smile. Well, not air quotes, but because I like it, smile. But, like, I keep watching things like Bendy or Five Nights at Freddy's get co-opted by children, and the problem is that when it does, everything about it fundamentally ground up has to change. And people are like, well, no, it doesn't. No, yes, it does. Because you cannot interact with certain subject matter. You can't talk about things a certain way. You can't depict certain things. If you're marketing to children, fundamentally your story has to change. You can't talk about, like, for example, right? I've said before that the Walden Files eventually ended up selling me because it did what Five Nights at Freddy's can't. And that's talk about the absolute fucking horror, like the disgusting violent body horror that being shoved into an animatronic suit would actually do. Like what the damage that those mechanisms would do to you. Because FNAF can't. It can't. Because it caters to children.
Mm-hmm.
And like...
I think the closest... Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think the closest it got to it was in one of the books. Because of the whole... So there's like a whole thing in FNAF 5, Sister Location, where it's shown that those particular robots are basically snatchers. They have like a whole system inside of them to take children to like the little experimentation thing down there.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a whole story where a girl is just sitting in one. And she's sitting in Fun Time Freddy. And I think Fun Time Freddy's like, how do you want to die? We can be boiled alive, we can be burned alive, and she has to sit there and like contemplate it. I think that's the closest they've gotten to that.
Right. And it's
in a book.
Right. I think fundamentally it's just so much has to change. How you talk about things changes. What you talk about changes. And I think that, like, because of that, I think that a lot of things then have to sand off all of their edges because they realize, like, well, we can't go where we were planning on going because now we have to deal with parents.
It's like the Disney version of Grimm's fairy tales.
Yeah. And, like, I think that it's just a net negative overall.
The only thing I can really say in regards to that is that at the very least, when Disney does that, they then have the knowledge to not make their movies a horror movie.
Right.
Yeah.
So at the very least, it like, oh man, the initial horror property is no longer a horror property. Well, at least it doesn't it makes a lot more sense to be able to bring that down to G or PG, because at that point, admittedly, you can argue it's more of a shadow of its former self, but at the very least, it's not trying to pass itself off as the original, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Or it's based off of, you know?
Right.
So it's the reverse of modern day Disney remakes.
Zootopia and Beastars could pretty much be the same exact story outside of one being Disney and the other being written by the Baki spawn child. One is, oh, there's people being mean, this isn't racism, while the other is poor goat guy selling his fingers to carnivores for spare change. Right. One of the things I liked about Beastars was exactly the thing I talked about at the beginning of the stream, where I was talking about how one of the things I like to do when I come up with things that story concepts, things that I want to write about, a lot of the time it's, I like this thing, but I don't think it went far enough with this aspect, or it didn't expand enough on this for my liking. I want to talk about this more. And I love Beastars because it does just that. It takes the things, and it obviously wasn't written by Zootopia, Beastars came first, but it takes the things that Zootopia talked about and expands on them far further.
Mm-hmm.
And takes them to a more grounded, realistic extreme. And it's part of why it's so popular. Also, Paru Itagaki's very good at metaphor, but that's neither here nor there. I mean, I think you could make the case for something like the original Boys comics by arguing it's supposed to be taken as a bleak and mean-spirited hypothetical for the superhero genre. However, you're not really going to get anywhere with that based on just monotonous shock value. It doesn't necessarily have more gray area to it, but you have some type of coherent argument behind it, give it a justification for the portrayal of the world. It's true. It's... The thing is, right? The Boys is supposed to be this idea of, absolute power corrupts absolutely. It's the idea that, a good-hearted person like Superman wouldn't exist because if you're more powerful than other people, you'll become a fascist. But, that's factually just not true.
Mm-hmm.
It's just... That's just kind of not how the world works.
It's also just weird that the only way you can contemplate someone having power is that they'd be an asshole.
Listen, Garth Ennis is kind of a weird freak.
Also the fact that people take the Boys unironically and, spread Nazi shit.
Well, this is the other thing, right? I was talking to, I talked to the Clock Tower gang about this. Part of the reason, and you're gonna have to hear me out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Part of the reason that part of the way you can know that The Boys is bad parody is because that phenomenon happens, and they're like, oh, well, Chuds will take anything. Yeah, but Chuds taking something and making it a fascist dog whistle is one thing. But, you fucked up when the exact people that you're openly and, nakedly criticizing are like, I like him, I'm gonna make him my profile picture. You know what I mean? A
little bit, because I've also seen pro cops do that with Punisher.
Yeah, but see, here's the difference, right? You have to bend and warp a lot of things about the Punisher to be pro-fascist. You have to actively be misreading it. If you take a look at Punisher comics for 5 minutes, you'd realize that that's, like, not accurate. But the thing about The Boys is that, like, okay, I've said this before, the key thing, the bad choice, TM, was they made Homelander sympathetic. They made him sympathetic. They made him a character that you were meant to have sympathy for. In the comics, he's not. He's just a weird fascist. He's a weird fascist pervert. And, like, you can't sit there and be like, ah, yes, this is the pinnacle of everything that you believe, and then go, but he wants to be a good dad, but he's trying to understand who he is, but circumstances made him this way, but he was abused, but he was manipulated. You can't do that! Because then what you're doing in your narrative is providing a tacit excuse for why he is like this.
That's how I feel about a lot of Disney remakes.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah, I was talking about this, is I have to at some point sit down and watch all of them because the side project. But this is in particular with Maleficent. And I know a lot of people like it, but hear me out for a second. As someone who's looking at it,
go off, King.
As someone who's looking at it from a surface level, right? It's just wicked. It's just wicked, and it didn't understand what the fuck wicked was. And I'm coming at this from an outside angle because I haven't watched it yet. It's the same thing with 13 Reasons Why.
Ugh.
In general vibiness. Okay, maybe I'll be proven wrong when I watch it. I don't think I'll be proven wrong when I watch it, but
from someone who did watch it, no, you won't.
Because the thing that I hate about it, this is the thing, and this is, I feel like this is going to be the same exact fucking criticism I have of Cruella, is justification for doing something wrong. And, like, no, you still did something wrong. Like, in the original, Maleficent's like, nah, fuck you, I didn't get an invite, fuck your baby, fuck you. And in the new one, it's like, oh no, the king was secretly evil all along, this is the true story. Maleficent still cursed a baby. You could have cursed the baby. Why did you curse the baby? You could have cursed the king. Why the baby?
Even, like, if I'm not mistaken, even Angelina Jolie, when, like, she sounds like, she cursed the baby.
Yeah, it's like, why do you have sympathy? Well, because this happened. It's like, and? It's like, but this happened. It's like, yeah, that happened. And it has happened to a lot of people, and they didn't do what she did.
They didn't curse a baby to... I want this to be... It's not just cursing a baby, it's cursing a baby to die.
Yeah, they didn't fucking kill a baby, basically. Or attempt to get... I think the other thing, though, and I've seen a little bit of this, I fucking hate this method that a lot of writers use, where, how do we make this person likable? I know, we'll make everybody else fucking stupid.
Oh god. Can I go?
No.
Can I go? I'm going
really quick. Really quick. I'll let you go on your rant. But the reason why I say this is because in Maleficent, the good fairies, Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather, the ones that are like wholesome, like they're kind of ditzy, but because they don't really know how to be people, because they're fairies and they're like millions of years old, and they're taking care of a baby, and it's all that. They're loving and they're caring. In the new one, they're fucking neglectful. Maleficent finds them in like an hour.
Well, yeah, because in the original, they're sort of ditzy, but they're, like, charming and sweet.
Yeah, the funniest part is the fact that when Maleficent's like, how the hell have you still not found this child? It's like, we've checked every cradle. It's like, you've checked every cradle? It's like, yeah, it's been 16 years. They're looking for a fucking baby. Shit, they're looking for a baby.
See, that's funny.
That's hilarious.
And at least, like, in that context, like, it's not like the heroes are the ones being the idiots here.
Yeah, but no, Maleficent, not her little minion or whatever, finds the cottage and the baby and raises Aurora. it was her that raised Aurora, and I'm like, I'm actually gonna fucking stab you.
What's the fucking? I can't remember. I'm looking up
They
the
stole
fucking
the kiss
name.
thing.
It's
They stole
it-
the kiss thing. Oh, what's better than a love between a man and a woman? Motherly, sisterly. They stole that from Frozen. It's not even like, oh, it's a twist or a reference. No, they just straight up fucking took it.
they plagiarized themselves.
That's
And
crazy.
Wicked.
And Wicked. I've not
And
seen Wicked.
Wicked.
I'm full disclosure. I have not seen Wicked. It's probably true. I don't know. I'll probably forget it when I watch it. But like, no, you're like, I can't vouch for the stuff regarding Wicked
It's
purely
not
because
that.
but like,
sorry.
but like, no, I was gonna say no. Like, that's what frustrated me the entire like. It frustrates me the entire time because like you have a lot of really good pieces where you could have like expanded on things without necessarily having to do like without having to go necessarily the Maleficent was actually the good guy's angle or whatever, but like and like I have no problems with Angelina Jolie as Maleficent.
She was beautiful.
If she was playing it like 100%, if she was able to play the character like the original, that would have been like perfect.
And this is from TP, the Alpha Chad, the Alpha Giga Chad Maleficent enjoyer.
Indeed.
And when I say it like ripped off Wicked, I mean it was like, hey, you know this character that was not very well expanded upon? Let's make them the good guy as like a major twist. And I think it's like such a weird side thing, right? The weirdest fucking part about them making Maleficent into a quote unquote good guy is they didn't change her name. So when it shows her as a child and she's fluttering around, it's like, oh, she used to be a good fairy. Her name is still Maleficent, a word that means bad things. So you couldn't even name her like what, fucking Mallory? Like, why this?
It's so fucking funny.
Yeah.
This is my son, Zebediah Kilgrave.
At the very least, if you're gonna still name her Maleficent, give a reason why she's named Maleficent.
She's also still got the devil horns too.
Father, why did you name me this way?
She's still got the horns. You remember that?
Oh yeah, no, I remember that.
She still has the fucking horns too. It's like, I'm a good guy. It's like, oh, what? I'm a fairy. No, you're not.
I'm a good guy. My source trusts me.
Not for fucking long.
Yeah, but she got hurt. And I like the metaphor. I think it's a very interesting way to go into that. But at the same time, it's the fan fiction effect. We got to take the worst possible thing to them in order for them to be justified. We got to make the entire town bully them. We got to make their parents be. It's the fucking creepypasta effect. Got to make everybody bully them. Got to make all of these things happens to justify the fact that this teenager fell in love with Jeff the Killer. We got to do all this.
I'm gonna. You know what? I'm grabbing the wheel. I'm taking my turn.
Yeah.
Most of you, I'm gonna say words, and most of you aren't gonna know what these words mean. And you know what? That's fine. But I'm taking the wheel. I fucking hate Jujika no Rokunin. I hate it. This is in some certain manga circles, this is a piping hot take. I fucking hate it. I think it's bad.
I know what you're talking about.
You know! I fucking hate it!
No
yeah! The revenge manga?
Yes.
Yeah! I fucking hate it! It's bad!
I like it purely because I haven't read all of it, but there are parts that I dislike. But the primary thing that I like about it is just because of that part of me that was bullied as a kid. That's like,
It's so
yay, revenge.
And here's the thing. Listen. I'm gonna grab you gently by the shoulders. I love you so much with all of my heart and soul. Read better manga. There's better revenge manga. Listen. I hate Jujutsu no Rokujin because of exactly what you said before.
The creepypasta effect?
Yes! What do you
No, yeah, I get it.
What do you mean these random fucking like 5th grade bullies killed his parents and put
They
his
weren't 5th grade. I think they were in kindergarten actually.
Yeah, these fucking pre-K, these fucking toddlers. What do you mean they killed his parents and fucking put his brother in a coma? What do you mean?
Yeah. It's pretty funny.
It's so stupid.
Like the most fucked up way.
Like, listen.
Fucked up.
I've said, like, and some of you were like, well, you said you liked Maria's Revenge, and yeah, because Maria's Revenge is cartoonish. It's fucking ridiculous. Her fucking son jumped from, like, a 3-story height, broke both his legs, and then got hit by a truck. That's so stupid and so over the top. How the fuck am I supposed to take that seriously?
I think the other thing about Jujutsu no Rokunin, from what I've seen, because I've read a portion of it. One, I do find the methods quite interesting, purely from like the research standpoint. But the second thing is that it's got really weird moments where it just turns into a normal anime of like,
which is wild.
Oh my god. It's like there's like a weird moment. It's like, yeah, I just fucking tortured this dude by peeling off his skin and then shooting a BB gun into him. Anyway, how's like the school festival doing? And like a girl likes him, and that turns into a whole thing. And they've got like the little chibi style with the cutesy thing. And I'm like, what is this?
Where am I?
What is happening?
See, I was joking before, but I stand by it, actually. Maria no Danzai is Saw. It's just Saw. And some of you are like, oh, because of the brutal violence. No, it's Saw because it's brutal violence that is then undercut by the most melodramatic telenovela-style cop plot you've ever fucking seen, and it's so fucking funny. Because, like, there is a whole police investigation subplot that revolves completely around Maria's ex-husband trying to hunt her down, but like he doesn't even know it's her, and he's like pulling punches specifically because he hates these kids who killed his son. It's great. It's so stupid. I love everything about it. But Jujutsu no Rokujin is so fucking stupidly over the top and like uncomfortably violent for like no reason.
Oh no, there's a lot of assault.
Yeah, like there's a lot of welcome to another episode of How Long Can I Get Some Motherfucker. I was talking about this too. Manga Talk disappoints me constantly at every fucking turn. Because they're like, oh, this is the new thing, and I'm like, all right, let's play a fun little game of how long until someone gets raped. The current record for, by the way, is 3 chapters.
Certified lover boy, certified.
Yeah, I could go forever, thank you, without it. Like, fucking, there's nothing that takes me out of it faster than when we have just a random assault. Because, like, okay, have you ever, are you familiar with the dub of, this is gonna be a wild transition, it's gonna be a wild transitional sentence. Are you familiar with the dub of Sextra Credits?
No. What is that?
Huh?
So Sextra Credits is a hentai that Dan Green was in.
I think I know.
I know.
Yeah, this is This is the cluck, bark like a dog, cluck like a chicken. That's the one. There's a bit. Knuckles. But there's a bit in the dub that, like, it's how I've come to learn to cope with this kind of bullshit in these things. At this point, is every time this happens, and, like, it serves nothing and just kind of happens out of nowhere, I think of a clip from that, where the young girl goes, "That's great, but why did you rape and sodomize me?"
What the fuck?
And I think about that. I think about that moment every time in something like Jujutsu no Rokujin, like where the girl who likes him gets assaulted and then just goes back to normal, like everything is fine.
Yeah.
And my that's what I think of. I think of the bit of like, cool, that's great, but like why did you rape and sodomize me?
Knuckles!
I think that's she also dies and like had a secret twin or something.
Yeah, like it's so, because it comes out of nowhere. It's violent, disgusting, and disturbing, and then the characters will go back to like nothing ever happened. And like it never affects anything. It just happens. It happens to move the plot forward. And then at most you get a scene of her being like, "That was really scary, but you saved my life, so, you know, I'm indebted to you now." Or what the hell ever. And that's all it ever boils down to. So that's what I think of.
Okay.
Cause like cause that's all it is. And it happens so often in shit like this, where like, and you can't, like, here's the thing, right? A lot of revenge manga now boils down to, I want to draw terrible, violent, disgusting things happening to literal children. And in order for my audience to be okay with that, I have to make them boil and eat dogs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we get to a point where they're so cartoonishly evil that, like, I can't feel catharsis anymore.
It's like the 80s bully times 10.
Right! Again, they killed his parents! Why?
Because
funny.
they like, no, for real though. From what I can remember of it, they just torture him for no fucking reason.
Yeah, why did they murder his parents?
Oh wait, no, they do explain it later on with like the weird twink guy. You want to hear the explanation from what I can remember?
Yeah, hit me with it.
So the main dude with like the bowl cut or whatever, it was an experiment to see how far he could drive a person to do something or something like that. It was like, how far can I fuck up this kid? That's it. That's all.
Said the preschooler.
How far can I fuck up this person?
This child is...
This fucking 5-year-old looked at this poor kid and went, how much can this person take?
Emotionally, how much can you withstand before you have complete emotional shutdown?
Emotionally speaking, Mr. Electric, kill him!
Like, I can't...
Like, that's the plot. It's just, how much can I fuck this person up?
And then...
Fucking die!
And then... I also like, the bit of like, yes, I'm going to learn how to murder from my war criminal grandfather.
Yeah.
Like, listen, I get it. You need a contrivance for the kid to know how to do all this stupid shit. But there's nothing funnier than, like, just not even critically, just being like, yeah, I was a war criminal during World War II. I'm gonna teach you how to commit war crimes.
My second reaction to this was, what the fuck? Hey, Todd?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, we'll keep the family lineage alive, son.
Like, the thing about, like, again, Maria's Revenge is that they have the common goddamn sense to not tell us how she knows how to do all this shit. Because, like, there's no answer I'd believe. Like, there's... Google, show me this guy's balls.
Google, show me how to decimate this guy's balls.
Like, you hit a point where, like, there's no catharsis to be found because it's so over the top. Like, this shit is not happening to me. I can't relate to this anymore.
I can't have, like, a sense of relief from this.
I'm watching this kid reach elbow deep into this dude's asshole and then pull his intestines out. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this? What is this supposed to do?
More importantly, what do I do with the intestines?
Oh, by the way, one dude just has a girl. Like, he fucking kidnapped a girl when she was like 8, at the age of 8, and he just keeps her that whole time.
Yeah, he's just had her. She's just there.
I don't know how, but her parents. None of these kids have parents.
Yeah, nobody ever looked for her. Nobody wondered where she was. Like, what?
Nobody questioned why this kid had like his parents questioned why she had like a weird murder basement.
Yeah, like nobody questions.
How.
Yeah, nobody questions anything. It's just no.
Mortis, play the one clip. You know the one.
I guess that makes sense of why I kind of didn't look into it anymore. Because I went on TikTok and it's like, show me it's like, look at this fucking 30 pages of a manga. And it's like, oh, okay. And then I looked at it, it was like, oh, okay. And I have it saved on my wish list. And I'm like, oh, okay. I know what happens now because I got curious. I'm like, Wikipedia, show me this guy's balls. And
yeah,
it's... I have a love for it purely because of the fact that it's so insane, and I don't know why. There's a weird catharsis of seeing people get what they deserve, because these people are insane, and if you forget the fact that they're like fucking 13,
read,
because they're not drawn that way.
Fucking Mortis said it, but for real, read the one within the villainess. That's a fucking revenge manga that you can relate to.
Oh man,
we love watching women absolutely fucking obliterate people who hurt them by making the world better for everybody but the people who hurt them.
Hannibal, is that you?
Eat the rude.
Eat the rude.
Oh god, fucking, so, hi. I need to talk to you guys for a minute about a manga I finished the other night.
Uh-huh.
So, okay, I'm not gonna get too deep in the weeds, mainly because I'm 6 pages into a script, so you'll hear me get deep in the weeds, just not right now. But I'm gonna take you by the hand so gently when I tell you, I read a manga called Suicide Girls.
Oh, I saw this on Blue Sky.
And I think it is one of the best pieces of mental health representation I've ever read ever.
Okay, that explains the one thing that you posted earlier. I thought that was something else entirely.
So
it was, and I promise you, it was not even a manga that I was thinking of.
So, and listen. I've never needed... Chad, I'm gonna tell you what this manga's about. And I have never needed you to hear me out. Like, I need you to hear me out right now, okay? So the manga is about a group of teenage girls.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
The protagonist of this story is named, and I'm not kidding, her actual name in the book is Kirari Aokigahara.
No! No!
No, you have to hear me out.
Wait.
It gets,
okay,
there's more. So,
okay, you're gonna have to, dumb, ignorant English person here, what does that name mean?
Aokigahara is known as the suicide forest.
So I need you.
I see.
I'm so not done.
I'm sorry.
So
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So she gets her powers when she goes to commit group suicide with a group of people that she met online. By they do the thing where you put the charcoal briquette inside of a car. But it was magic. And it helped and fixed everybody else, but it gave her superpowers. So she's immortal now. And she becomes a suicide girl, which is a magical girl who fights off these things called phobias, which are the cause of suicide in the world. They are spirits that possess you, tap into the weakest parts of your psyche, and make you kill yourself. So she fights these things by turning into a magical girl via the magic noose that she got. And in order to trigger her magical girl transformation, she has to hang herself. Chat, I'm not, this is not a sarcastic statement. Is this a comedy or action manga? She part of some sort of suicide squad. Oh,
I need to read this.
She does have a magical girl team. They consist of a girl who has to slit her own wrists, a girl who has to overdose on magic pills, and another girl who shoots herself in the head.
So Persona.
I was gonna say, it's like, man, Persona sounding weird.
When I tell you, no meme, no joke, no exaggeration, there's no sarcasm in my voice. When I tell you, this is the best mental health representation I've read maybe ever, and has the best message I've ever seen. Some of the best messaging for people with suicidal ideation that I've ever seen. I mean it. And that sounds insane. Given what I've just described to you, I get that sounds insane. Because I would have thought that it sounded insane. And then I read 40 chapters of it, and I cried 4 times, and it changed my life. I'm not shitting you. It's so good.
I need this.
You do? It's really good. You'd really like it.
I don't like how you were so prepared for that, knowing my mental health history.
That doesn't answer my question. Is this a comedy or an action manga? Yes. It's both. It's incredibly funny. It's incredibly funny. The action in it's great. The fucking monster design kicks ass. Fucking I don't know how to explain to you. Like, well, I do. I'm 6 pages into a script. But like I'm putting together like a whole video essay because I can't. Boy howdy did I feel things. And that's how you know it's good. It's good when it makes you feel something, and I sure as shit felt something.
And not anger.
And not, it was so good! It was so good! Like, the thesis point of the whole story, I'll tell you this, because I don't want to tell you too much, A, because I'm working on a script, and B, because read it. But, the thesis point of the whole manga is that if one person reaches out when you need them the most, then one person's kindness can save a life in danger. The whole thesis point is that you have to support the people around you, because you never know who might need you and when. And that's so spectacularly beautiful. I love it so much. It's so, the pathos is so strong. The fucking, you feel it. And this dude, you'll know when you read it, especially Nezzy, you'll get it. This is one of those things where I think everyone would like it. But if you're one of us, TM, if you've felt ideation, you'll get it. Because this motherfucker gets it. The joke I made was this was written by a motherfucker on SSRIs.
Should I explain Aokigahara real quick?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I know the forest. I just
didn't know that's what it was
called. You didn't know the name of it?
I didn't know the name of it.
Okay, for people that don't, Aokigahara is literally famous for the fact that it's called the Suicide Forest. It's the place where Logan Paul got in fucking trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Because why the hell would you film there?
It's so fucking funny. When I tell you, page 1, I saw, my name is Kirari Aokigahara, and I was like, and I put my phone down and was like, what? My name is Carrie Kills Herself. I'm Sally Suicide. My name's Brittany Bullet. Like, are you kidding me? That's insane. That's crazy. You're crazy. Shut up.
You have a cupcake.
That's bananas. I don't fucking, it was so good.
Japanese humor, man.
Japanese humor's crazy. I'm not, listen, I'm not positive that the other names weren't other puns that I didn't get. That's the only one that I got.
What were the other ones?
The other girls are, oh my god. I'm so bad with names. Hang on.
By the way, real quick, I know a lot of stuff in Japanese culture when it comes to like media is sketchy. I know why.
Mm-hmm.
There is like, as someone who's done a lot of research in stuff, I know why. And it's not great. Actually, how do I explain this? How do I explain this, actually? A lot of the stuff that you see.
I was gonna say, sorry, the girl who slits her wrists is named Monten.
Okay. Do they have a last name?
She doesn't know.
Oh.
One of the monsters is named Hizumi. What's the fucking other girl's name? What's the overdose girl? What's her name?
Just look it up on the Suicide Girls wiki.
It just says fucking Xanax.
It's
Prozac.
Oh my god. Unhelpful.
I have a question. Is there a Suicide Girls wiki?
There is, but it's not very good.
Well, you win some, you lose some.
Oh, Yugame is her name.
Oh, so Luna, Eiffel, Nakare, and Akana, Niagara. I'd have to do more studying to see if these are puns.
They might
But
be.
there's a lot of Japanese. How do I explain this? Mm, I've done a lot of research on stuff like fetishes, and I've done a lot of. I am a mentally ill person that has had to do research in terms of like my suicidal ideation and all that.
Yeah, me too.
Japan Japan has a lot of these aspects to it that wouldn't be understood by the average person because of that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that makes any sense. I don't I don't know how to go into it without having like that side eye.
There's a very it's just from what I understand, like from like being a third party,
Mhm.
it's very there's just a very different cultural attitude towards it
Yeah.
than there is in the
There's
West.
a different cultural attitude towards like a lot of the stuff that we were talking about in terms of the manga like Jujikan no Rokunin. There's a lot of different attitudes when it comes to approaching those types of topics, and there's a reason why.
Yeah.
You may not like those reasons, but there are reasons. And they are reasons that are also present in American media. It's just not seen as much. But like I said, as someone that's done a lot of research on stuff like fetishes and like I've been in Japanese culture, I am Japanese.
Yeah.
And like looking at the culture around me and how I personally grew up, it becomes very prevalent what it is. And a lot of people would kind of side eye that, but there are genuine reasons. You may not like those reasons.
Yeah, the reasons aren't great, but they're there.
Yeah, but I want to be very clear here that when we're talking about these people, it's not like it's not Mr. Enter type mentality of these were made by terrible people.
No. But like
No.
There's a very different like cultural attitude towards like gore and violence
And sex.
and sex and the relationship between those things. And that's like, is the reason for that good? But like
depends who you are.
But like I think it's the same way that like there's a weird history of like some of you are gonna know what this means, but I get to flex my my knowledge a little bit. It's like talking about French extremity, for example, like or like grindhouse aesthetics. These things were born of a certain mentality and age. Like grindhouse as we know it was born because of certain cultural pushbacks in America at the time. French extremity, fucking James might know what I mean when I say kitchen sink mentalities. Like these things come about because of a current cultural standpoint. It's you can't.
Sorry,
but like you can't. The thing is, right? Like, I think you can. The last thing I'll say before we write out is I think things have a cultural reason why they exist, but that doesn't inherently. And I'm not saying that for this in particular, but I'm saying like broadly speaking, just because something has like a cultural touchstone as to why it occurred doesn't inherently mean that it's a good thing.
I think I figured out a way to phrase it.
Yeah.
It's like a fictional purge. It's like AO3, where if we put all this stuff into fiction, if we get it out of our system and put it into fiction, then it's out of the system and we can go about our day. That's
Yeah.
kind of how I personally view it. It's like we talk about because there's a lot of people like, as long as it's fake, as long as it's a drawing, then it's fine. I feel like that's the mentality for a lot of people that's not talked about. It's that fictional purge of it's out of the system, it's gone.
And I don't think that's necessarily. I think that's one of those things where the argument depends on context.
Who the person is, yes.
Yeah, because sometimes they'll be like, "Oh, well, it's not real," and it's like, yeah, but
yeah, but we know why you're using it.
We know why you did it, and like, listen,
yeah.
But that's a conversation. That's a different plate of cookies for a different glass of milk. The point is, it's raid time now.
Hey.
Speaking of a different plate of cookies for a different glass of milk, did you see the Genius show?
No, not yet.
You want me to send it to you?
Avi already did.
Okay.
I'm gonna send you over to Caliban as he's streaming today. I don't think we'll be doing anything tomorrow, so I think I'll see you guys again on Monday. Goodbye!
Bye.
Bye.
It's always lovely to have you, Nezzy.